All righty. Good morning, everybody. We're getting started a little bit early this morning. Got a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. Good morning. Please say hey. Excited to be with you all this morning. We made it. Made it through the week. Time is fake. I always say it. Time is fake. In the business world, caught up in meetings all day. I feel like the week is just flying by. Ooh. Got to sneeze. So yeah, we're Friday already. Crazy. Please say hey. Love to hear from you. Actually, I'm gonna drop it into the Torque stream real quick. Hold on real quick. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. We are dialed in this morning. Yeah. So we're gonna dive in today. So what I would say, I'm a social listener. What does that mean? It means I'm on Twitter 24/7, right? And I watch what people tweet. I watch the comments. I see what people are saying. For me, it's really the best way to learn about the state of the market, where we're at, yada yada yada. And so I saw a tweet by Wes Boss the other day, and I'm going to share it here in a second. But Wes Boss tweeted, "Who has been interviewing the last 3 months? What are things looking like? What does the interview process look like now?" So I am going to break it down. I'm going to break it down. We're going to talk about today. But for those of you tune in, welcome. Good morning. Happy Friday. We made it through the week. Please say hey. Let me know where you tune in from. We had folks from Africa tuning in last week. That was crazy. It's wild when we get international this morning. Charles, did you crush the candies? I don't quite know what that means. You mean candles? You mean candles? I don't have candy. I don't have candy. Try to stay away from candy. It makes my tummy hurt. I want to get through kind of a few housekeeping things. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to AppRight. I'm an AppRight hero. And love the people, love the product. Even though I don't code, but I can still say I love the product. So go check them out. My guy Jason Torres is a fellow Torque AppRight ambassador. So tell him the Torque Boy sent you. Also, listen, Torque community kind of updates real fast for you all this morning. Our ambassador program is open. Our ambassador program is probably going to be open just for another month. Probably close at the beginning of December. We'll review the applications. We already have 50 applications, which, to be honest, is tremendous. The fact that we have at least 50 people who believe in kind of what we're doing and want to spread the good word of what we're doing at Torque means a lot. So go sign up. Did you? It's a game, Candy Crush. No, I don't play Candy Crush. I ain't got time for games. I'm in meetings all day. So yeah, go check out Torque.community. We also have our mentor mentee program open too. Right now we have 11 mentors signed up, 22 mentees for our second cohort. So excited to get that rolling. So again, if you want to be an ambassador, go sign up. Sign up's still open. I've seen some people go, "Oh, I missed it." And I'm like, so I'm going to talk about this for a second. I will say this, between me, Jason, our Torque social media handle, all the content we put out, there is no reason for you to miss out on an opportunity. So I will tell you this, listen, get in the Discord. If you want updates on like what we're doing with Torque, shoot me a text, join my texting community, which is this right here. Like, follow us on X. We tweet about our events. We tweet about announcements. I mean, we use Twitter for like basically our announcement board. So if you're not following Torque.dev on Twitter or X rather, please go do that. On Blue Sky, we're on Blue Sky. We are all over the Discord. So again, like, come on, y'all. Like we had a Microsoft event yesterday and our boy Aaron was like, I didn't know this was happening. Listen, I've posted to LinkedIn. I've posted to X about it all the time. So please follow me. Please follow Jason. Please follow Torque .dev. Again, we publicize all the stuff we're doing all the freaking time. Jason and I don't agree on much. We don't. But I will say this: if you are missing on what we're doing, that is actually a you problem. I will confidently say that between all the announcements on Discord, all the social media posts we make, my newsletters, Jason streams. I mean, we talk about it all the dang time. So there is no excuse. If you tweet me and go, "Oh, I didn't know you were doing it," I'm like, "Well, that is on you." There's literally nothing else I could do unless I showed up to your house and told you to come do something. So all right. And then, like I said, if you want to know when I go live with guests or myself and the topic, just shoot me a text. I just text this number out and just let them know when I go live. We got M right here this morning. Jason, maybe a sign you wouldn't be that good of an ambassador. That's funny. All right. So let me go share my screen because I want to go ahead and talk about this tweet here, right? So we're going to pull this up here. And to be honest with y'all, I'm really just going to walk through some of these comments, right? Also, my entire Twitter is really messed up. Half of it's Gamecock football and the other half is tech. So, all right. So I think this is a fascinating tweet from Wes. And I want to address some things that I'm seeing here. So first off, again, I think this is interesting from Pierce right here. Pierce is at Microsoft. More from a hiring manager perspective, we redid our interviews for Code Product Team. They all start with an app building exercise. You can use any AI developer tool you want. Super interesting. You learn a lot about how everyone uses AI tools differently. Some spend 30 minutes playing, then pass to AI, then finish in 5 minutes. Some iterate much more with agent. I think this is interesting. Then we have 2 interviews focused on getting to the root of the developer problem and designing a solution. I love this. I love this from Pierce. Pierce Boggin. I love that. I just followed him the other day. I'll look at this with Jamin, right? Jamin at React, at Infinite Red, a React Native consulting company. We interviewed 47 candidates recently, hired 3. I would say that number is really close, right? Typically, what I've seen is typically a 10% type of attrition, right? Or to hire. So if he interviewed 47 candidates, he probably should have hired maybe 4 of them. The fact that he's 3 is probably pretty close. Let's continue to go on here. Recently hired 4 devs and now hiring 2. Basically vibes, technical discussions around architecture and approach, lots of questions around their dev workflow. If they say they don't use AI, I skip them. I think this is interesting. I will say this. This is obviously a very controversial take here. But to me, I think we are so for the last year, everybody's kind of been on the same page here. And kind of been on an even playing field. I do think that you are going to start seeing more managers like this, right? In that if they don't know how to use AI, they skip it. Did you text this morning? Oh, I never pressed send. Oh, there we go. That's why. Thanks. Appreciate that, Chris. There you go. I just texted it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't come down to open roles. You have 1 role, you hire 1. Yeah. But what I'm saying is typically if to get to that 1 person, you typically have to interview a close to 10 people that I've seen in my career. So anyways, back to this. I think this is interesting. I think you're going to see more individuals like this. I think this is interesting. I've heard from at least 10 devs in the last week what the hell is going on. One company was bring your own project to show and tell, and then a technical QA, which was systems design centric. We also dove into specifics of AI assist. Again, kind of interesting. I like that. Interesting. Did you like it? Overall, yes. I happened to have a side project I was already working on. I do like this approach. Bring your own project. I think companies should do that more. It really meets the person where they're at. Again, it's much better approach than having take-home assignments. I totally agree with that. Matt comes in and I'm interviewing people for now. There's a lot of AI gen with limited knowledge to back-end stuff. Lots of people cannot be reliable without React and Tailwind. I think this is interesting. In our Microsoft, I'm gonna take down that banner, in our Microsoft meetup yesterday, which is great, by the way. Shout out to the folks who showed up. It was a great conversation. I actually talked to some of my friends who were senior devs there. Because again, I'm always fascinated. I'm like, did you actually learn something? And one of my friends who's a staff engineer at Atlassian actually said he actually learned something. So we love that. But one of the conversations that Matt specifically mentioned right here is We started talking a lot about this stuff in the workshop yesterday, in that I still, and a lot of devs continue to say this, when it comes to fundamentals, it's key, right? It is absolutely key. And so from a fundamentals perspective, we got it. We kind of got talking on like how juniors would find a job right now. Really when it comes down to it, you still have to know how to do things, right? And I think a lot of people are really, really getting in trouble because they don't know how to do things. Amelia comes in here, but what could someone possibly learn from just vibe coding, not learning about the workflow of AI? No. And that's kind of what I'm going to, right? I think one of the conversations that we kind of got into yesterday at the Microsoft Torque event was the fact that, like, hey, like, you can use these vibe coding tools, but nobody knows what's going on, right? And that is a very scary, slippery slope. So then we started again talking about how people get jobs in today's market. And I think what's still is fundamentals matter. But I think if you have the fundamentals and layer it with AI tools, I think that gap closes really, really fast. Charles comes in. I'm finding that if you use AI, you need to also understand the tools being built even more deeply. Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with this. I think again, if you know the fundamentals and you can use AI, it closes that gap to being able to get things out the door quicker. But again, and of course, there's my thing right here. Let's kind of go through more. So I think this is interesting. We had 4 companies who started interviewing in September using Wellfound. So my Monday stream is going to be about what job boards to use. Wellfound, for those of you who are watching or listening in the future, Wellfound is formerly Angels List. I had 4 companies in the fire. 2 of 4 were boring. We think we're Google leak code. 1 of 4 straight to director of engineering, followed by a take home that was sloppily put together and reviewed by a stable of mids. 1 of 4 hired me in a marathon 20, which is now considered a red flag. Said company hired me was a bait and switch. Yeah, through my network. So I promptly was out 6 weeks. Through my network from a great past job, I was introduced to a company. So I think so. If you scroll through this tweet, so if you go to West Boss, there's going to be a lot of referrals through here, right? Friend of mine went through Love You Perfect. It was absolutely what they were looking for. Didn't get it. Interviewing around June, July felt pretty typical. I was genuinely pleasantly surprised by the amount of interest I had. I'm curious to hear this. My experience is skewed because I've been doing this for 15 years, but I think parts that suck will resonate with anybody. Again, Aaron's a 15-year engineer. I only heard back from 1/10 of the jobs I applied for, which makes total sense, right? I think mass applying is not a way to cut through the noise. Once I got past the HR screen call, is a fairly mixed bag. Some places know how to interview. Some people don't. 100 agree. I think AI tools on both sides have made it harder to get the job, that initial HR screen as well. And I actually want to go to another article real quick here. Let's see here. If you guys do not follow the Pragmatic Engineer, I do want to pull up this article real quick for you all because I think this is fascinating. Let me pull up again. It's a lot of screen sharing today. I feel like I'm in a presentation. All right, can y'all see this? I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. All right. So what's the state? And it's so interesting that Wes Boss tweeted this, and then Pragmatic Engineer Gurgley. I never know how to pronounce his name. I butchered every time. So this is interesting. So Wellfound, a jobs platform, around 6 million software engineer profiles. Just put in perspective, we have close to 3 million on Torque. Job platform, falling demand for remote work, more barriers put up by companies. Junior engineer recruitment rebounds, more scale-ups and publicly traded tech companies are doubling down on hiring new grad, which is interesting. I have not seen a lot of that data. But I do want to go down to here, which is kind of an interesting part that I want to bring up because I read this yesterday. I briefly scanned this. It says hiring trends, candidates face more barriers, right? So screening trends, more barriers for job seekers. Inbound is noisy because there's lots of applications and most are underqualified. So companies place barriers like asking additional questions up front, scheduling async calls, assigning coding assessments, even doing AI interviews in advance. AI tools for ranking and filtering candidates to deal with high volumes of inbound, right? Interview trends, more in-person interviews, trial days or weeks, pre-offer, right? And so I want to get to this, fake jobs and fake candidates, right? Which I think is incredibly important here, right? So fake jobs, not a visible trend, but ghosting is fake. Posting fake jobs with sole intent to capture is not widespread, at least on our platform of companies. Fake candidates are ongoing problem. So again, one of the things I want to talk about is I saw a tweet from a recruiter I follow a few weeks ago on X. He said 80% of his job search, or 80% of his job right now, is verifying if candidates are actually real. I think there is a ton. There's a lot of vendors out there that will literally create fake resumes, submit them to jobs, and if they get the interview, then what they try to do is they slide people in who are similar to that background, who can speak to those skill sets, even though that is not their resume. It is absolutely a thing. It is a mess right now, right? Biggest issue we're seeing is scam candidates. I will say this to plug Torque, just because I believe what we're doing is that when you work with Torque and our platform, you have to verify who you are, right? So you literally, when you sign on to your profile, you have to do two-factor auth, and like you have to verify who you are, right? And so again, like what this is one of the things, and the reason why I want to highlight this stuff to you all right now is because that is why you're not getting callbacks. Like, you have to understand something. The amount of volume that is coming into job postings is ridiculous, right? Going back to Wes Boss's tweet, I'll pull up here in a second. A lot of those are like a lot of them go, I found a job because of referral. I found a job because of referral. I found a job because of referral. Right now, your referral network is going to be the single most thing to cut through the noise, right? Let's continue to go through this. Hiring trends. Hiring on site is dominant, right? But companies hiring remotely have the upper hand, right? Practically every startup well-found works with wants candidates to work on site, but many candidates want the opportunity to work remotely. There are AI budgets for recruitment. That doesn't apply for this conversation. This is interesting. Auto appliers are growing. I think this is fascinating. Auto appliers are growing. More candidates use auto apply software to apply for hundreds or thousands of jobs. It's a vicious cycle with more inbound applications, fewer applicants. If you wonder why, when you submit your resume, nothing comes back to you, this is why. Because there are tools out there that allow you to mass apply to jobs to gum up the process. I mean, now I will go. Sorry, I'm back on the screen now. There has been some chatter since I clicked up. I can't see both screens. It's good to see everybody this morning. Sebastian, it's good to see you. Christopher, it's good to see you. Charles, of course, it's good to see you. Ramsey, it's good to see you. Let's see here. I'm kind of going through. Cold applying is an exercise. Yeah, I mean, listen, but I will say this, Lawrence is here. If you go back and listen to my podcast, it's a two-part podcast with Lawrence Lockhart. There's the guy right there. We talk about this. Lawrence was very specific. So I think there's a difference between mass applying and cold applying. And Lawrence and I talked about that, is that mass applying, you're just slinging your resume. You're using these auto appliers. It's just a mess. Lawrence was being intentional, but still cold applying, meaning that he still was submitting his resume to a job that he may not have any contacts at, but he was being intentional in editing and creating his resume, right? So let's see here. I'm going through vibe coach for people who knowledge just sovereign AI assistant. I like that. For those who are still exploring, I'm sorry. I got a lot of words I'm trying to get through right now. That's a Michael. I love you. It's funny. The boys were throwing it down. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, always. Let's see. I'm kind of going through. We do have human matching. Yeah. It's a little bit of a barrier. The two-factor auth is a little bit of a barrier, but yes, the human matching is the most important part to our platform, which I totally agree with. Let's see here. The tactics that these auto are using, yeah, it's just not good. Let's see here. Maybe instead of just reading someone else's social post, we could get into the system that is auto applying, because I bet a lot of people don't know about it and what it entails. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think for me, I don't know, but I will tell you that there is software that is just mass applying for people, right? I would highly recommend not doing that. Again, we saw this right here, highest demand for software engineers with 3 to 15 years of experience. Obviously, that's a very broad range. Location has become suddenly important. Again, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. is in our workshop, is that there is an emphasis to hire people in cities, right? So again, Jason and I talked about this in our stream, is that, hey, if you are in a city, like a big city, I would put your address on your resume if you are especially willing to look into it. All right, so I think this is interesting right here. I think this is interesting. So I've been talking about this for a lot. The front end engineering side, I've been saying this, and I'm glad this verifies with this. Front end engineering is down, right? In my opinion, I truly think, because of just how hot the market was for React and front end engineering a few years back, most code schools still got stuck in doing front end development work with Angular and React. It is now you're starting to see a negative shift towards not hiring front end engineers, right? Also, interesting thing, mobile engineers right here are going down. Even though we do a fair amount of mobile engineer hiring at Torque for a lot of clients, but I think these stats are exactly right. Again, it really leans more towards the back end side of things, right? DevOps, data, back end engineering, data engineering, machine learning engineering. Again, I've been blowing this horn, tooting the horn. I've been tooting the horn now for a while, in that, hey, back end where it's at, right? If you are comfortable and interested, I would definitely go onto the back end side of things. All right. I do know we're supposed to be going to Wes Boss's. So let me go back to Wes Boss's tweet here. And we can kind of continue to read through some of these responses. Y'all can continue to comment, and I will get to comments here shortly. So again, right, I was able to transition from my software development to my solution architect. Honest, it's been a game. It's been a game of who you know. Let me read this again. I was able to transition from my software development role into my solutions architect role, but to be honest, the job market is crazy. It's been a game of who you know. Some people I know have been successful, but I have former colleagues still out of the job for 12 months. I hope we see a shift back to the employer market. I only hearing people of getting hired through referrals. 1 to 2 talks with hiring managers, and the team for all it takes is these. Yes, I agree. Let's see here. A lot of big company stuff. It's been a grind. 7 interviews, 100%. From my angle, interviews are harder when you apply everywhere. They're much easier when you connect with the right person first. Let me read that again for the folks listening now or in the future. This individual goes, his name is Bratislav, says, from my angle, interviews are harder when you apply everywhere. They're much easier when you connect with the right people. When you build a micro developer brand in a niche, something interesting happens. Some interview rounds disappear. You go straight to the VP of engineering because they already know who you are and what you are building. And if you go back to my tweet from, I think, 2 days ago, I specifically say niche right now is better. Niche right now is better, right? If you are a Java engineer focusing on a certain industry and a certain subsection with the industry, that is what you need to be talking about online. If you go back to my interview with Jerome Hardaway from Guidance Counselor 2.0, that's live in every app store right now. He specifically talks about how he used LinkedIn to boost his brand to start conversations, right? Incredibly, incredibly important. Let's continue to read through these. Not a lot, but referrals have and likely will increasingly get more popular and important. Again, folks, these are not my words. These are what other people are saying, but things I have been saying for a long time. Let's see here. I'm a job search coach. If you are able to articulate your story, things are looking bright. Going back to what Jason and I do in the Discord, fact of the matter is most of us in the resume, we bury the headlines, and when we get into interviews, we cannot clearly articulate how we move the needle. Again, these are other people's words, not just mine, right? Another thing, hire more based on attitude, not skills, right? I've worked with extremely skilled people who are very difficult to work with. Again, another thing we have talked about, right? let's see here. Don't know which. Yes, employers market multiple calls, a lot of behavioral assessments. I think this is interesting right here. The Ant used Grok. He goes, Grok, can you analyze the comments of this thread and see what percentage of interviews now consider AI? Grok says 50 recent replies meant 31% of the replies in this tweet thread have said they use AI involvement. Again, I don't think you can put your I don't think you can. I'm messing up a lot of sayings this morning, y'all. I don't think you can sit on your hands in today's market and not learn AI and be successful in the job search. There is a movement that is happening. I have been talking about it. It was my keynote at All Things Open. You have to learn how to integrate Gen AI tools like a Cursor, like yesterday VS Code, like a Claude, whatever, to build solutions. It is a thing. If Wes posted this post again in a year, I'd be fascinated. Is that 31% now at 60%? Right? I think we're going to continue to see that. All right, let's continue to move on. I've been a candidate for like 1.5 months. The truth is, that's Europe. That doesn't necessarily apply. So here, mixed bag. I've done assessment of the hacker rank, the mixed bag between take home traditional screens, AI, no AI. Some companies are absolutely against using AI coding. Some companies are great and especially prefer AI coding. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm kind of reading through these, seeing more and more trials being baked into the process. Yeah, I really think, I think we're going to start seeing more of this stuff, right? Like, to me, I've always said from the longest time that I don't think you cannot adequately judge anybody during 3 hours of interviews. You just can't. So I think you're going to start seeing more of these trials pop up. I honestly think so. All right, I'm going to get to comments here in a second. We're kind of coming up on time already. Decent senior devs are hard to find. Last round, I had 850 applicants, interviewed 15, and seriously considered 3. First interview is a career review. All right, so that's again, there's a lot of volume here, right? A lot of volume. Again, I'm interviewing people, and the big thing I've seen is how unreliable take-home assessments are in AI. We've moved to a pair programming interview because of this. I think that's interesting as well. Mostly looking for culture fit, another kind of soft skills thing, right? So, like, to me, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because we're almost at time and I want to get through the comments here. Like, to me, I think reading, and you can go read this post. It's a recent post by Wes Boss, so you can find it again at Wes Boss. I actually DM'd Wes if you wanted to come on and talk to me about it, but he said he was busy this morning. But to me, I think if you read this thread, there's a few things that stick out. One, AI is here. It's here. It's being used in some interviews. You cannot ignore it. You cannot stick your head in the sand and think it's going to pass. The second thing is referrals. Referrals are key, right? Absolutely incredibly important. The next thing I take out of this is that the amount of applicants out there is staggering, and there's no way for you to get a really good eyeball test. Referrals are going to be the way to go. Incredibly, incredibly important. I think trying to get back to in-person stuff. I mean, literally yesterday in the meetup we were at, in the Microsoft event we held, there was staff engineers from Atlassian. There were staff engineers from Microsoft. There were there was other staff engineers, hiring managers, and they showed up to this event, right? Again, trying to get out to events. If you're in Atlanta, we're throwing a private Torque community event in Atlanta Tuesday night. There are going to be some high caliber people there. I see the guest list. They're going to be, again, and if you want those details, just join our Discord. It's under announcements, right? So again, getting out and shaking hands is going to be the thing that cuts through the noise right now. All right, let's see here. I'm going through the comments here. Any statistics about quantum computing? I have no idea. That is not in my realm of expertise. Let's see here. Going through the comments here live in the App Store. Oh boy, yeah. Words are hard this morning. I heard that there's a cool down period exists after applying for a company. I've never heard that. But I'm just one person. Let's see here. Going through the comments here. All right, off to me and Lawrence. Thanks for tuning in. I'm in Houston. There's nothing here, just oil and gas. Yeah. Again, like I said, I think that in what I'm seeing for in person, it's San Francisco, it's New York, it's Seattle. I think if you live in a big city and you are willing to go on site, you will be able to stand out. I still think more companies are remote. I still think the split is like 60% remote, 40% in person, but obviously that has shifted. But yeah, I mean, going to Anthony's comment here, I need to head to Dallas or Austin. If I will say this, if you have the ability to do that, I would do that. Like if you are single or married with no kids and you're not like deeply rooted, like you have no family in town, highly recommend you getting to a big city. I think we're only going to continue seeing that trend. Yeah, and I've heard cool downs more about interviewing, and then also like when you contract at a company for like 24 months, there's a cool down period. So, all right, awesome. We're at time. I just wanted to go over this. I think it's a lot of interesting data. I mean, I could still go over this pragmatic engineer one. I think it's really interesting. I'm kind of going through here. It is interesting. This pragmatic engineer email newsletter does start talking more about hiring junior devs, which is still good, but obviously it's still tough. I think employers are picky. I just think, and again, Jason and I and the Torque team are going to continue to beat this drum. I think your resume's got to be rock solid. Your LinkedIn's got to be rock solid. You got to get out and meet people. Like you got to do the things. You got to do the basic fundamentally blocking and tackling. Jobs aren't going to come to you anymore, but people are still getting jobs. Like my LinkedIn right now, my feed is so many people are getting jobs, right? But you have to get out there. You have to push stuff out there. All right. So felt like today was good. A little bit of rambling on my part. I got a lot of sayings wrong, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some information out of it. Monday, I'm going to go live before the team heads down to Atlanta for all hands. Monday, I'm going live. So again, I've talked about resumes. I've talked about how to build your LinkedIn. Both of those are on the Torque YouTube page. So go follow that. Torque, it's torque.dev on YouTube. Both of those are on the YouTube page. How to build a resume, how to build a LinkedIn. Then today, obviously, was kind of like a grab bag day. I want to go over some things I'm seeing. Monday, we're going to talk about specifically job boards, the importance of job boards you should look into. Probably going to do some workshops on like probably using ChatGPT just to look up job boards. And we're going to talk about the power of using platforms like a Torque, like a Dice, like an Indeed, like a Wellfound to really work for you. So again, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you like it, please repost it. Would love to help somebody else in your network. Otherwise, y'all have a great weekend, and we will see y'all on Monday, 9:30 a.m. Central. Peace.